Hello, everybody, and welcome to a very sudden and unplanned but exciting return to the Big Brother Mono podcast. Um, I feel like there's a million different things I should say, but it's been a while, so let's talk about what I do here and why it's been a while, and why now to come back. Oof. So, a big part of this whole podcast was supposed to be honesty and mental health check-ins and supporting others, and in the spirit of honesty and mental health awareness, um work got stressful and I just got depressed and anxious and and disappeared. Yeah, that's the bottom line there. It didn't help that what was the last episode until now was just littered with technical difficulties, sound, video, all of the above. Kind of didn't really motivate me to push through. And to be honest, I might have tried to make this comeback sooner, but I didn't want to do it alone. If you've been listening from the beginning or a friend of mine, you'll probably already know this, but for anyone who chose this very weird rant now to jump in, um, the purpose of this podcast was to bring on somebody who's like a friend of mine or like someone from a community I'm in or is in one of mine, or just someone I genuinely vibe with or believe in, or um and to have them on talk about like what they do, what motivates them, where their heads at, future plans, and a lot of it ends up just kind of being like jam, like I'm a musician, like we jam. I don't even write down. I have ideas of things I want to say, but I come in with no plan. I see where the convo takes us, and by the end, I just hope we both feel good about what we put out into the world with our honesty and our genuineness and just our checking in. I keep saying the word checking in because that's kind of like the big like catchphrase, I guess, of the original format of this. If you're watching the video, this is gonna be lost on people listening. But typically the layout, like underneath me and like the camera of the other person, I'm pointing the wrong way. Uh, it would say like checking in with blank, like checking in with Pasta, checking in with Alex, checking in with just because that's just the vibe. We're checking in with each other, we're checking in, and we're just putting info out into the world, and we're helping each other through. And um sidebar, the other thing different about the layout, other than me covering and checking in with, because I'm not checking with anybody, I'm checking with myself, and I'm checking with you guys, I guess. um in the well, the camera's a lot bigger, but in the spot that would have belonged to my guest, you'll see an old sticker of mine for EXP Up Apparel, and that's because not only am I trying to bring back this project, this podcast, I also want to bring back EXP Up Apparel. So I guess that's a Twitter icon, not an X icon, but check that out, please. Follow that. Follow my podcast socials. But I will talk more about what that is and how it's related later, before I sidebar too hard. But yes, the reason this took a while to jump back into, and I covered the parts that said checking in with and the other frames and all that. I'm pointing the wrong way again. um, is because I wanted to have guests for the big return, because that's what I do here. I have a guest, and I try to make it more about them than it is about me, because part of the reason it's the Big Brother Mana podcast is because I have Big Brother Mana, Big Brother energy, and it's supposed to be about them and supporting them and getting their whatever they do out into the world and having their back, right? So to do it alone didn't seem to have the same point to it. I'm sorry. I'm realizing now that if there was ever an episode I should have planned ahead of time and had like bullet points for, um, it was this one. But just like every other one, we're letting Jesus take the wheel. It's just a little more awkward where I'm not bouncing off of somebody and I'm just trying to get through everything that's going on in my head. But long story short, I had reached out to a couple of people about coming on. An old friend of mine from when I lived in the desert, to talk about her cosplay, stuff like that. Just never really figured out a good time for that, which maybe that could still happen, but I haven't heard from them in a while. And I also reached out to one of my favorite TikTok streamers, and she was super on board. I was super excited. I really wanted to do this with that person. Not just as like a fan, but just like assuming they're as genuine as I think they are in their content. I just feel like they have the vibe of what we're doing here. I just feel like me and that person would vibe, and I just was looking forward to like working with them, but mainly like vibing with them and just like getting to know them better and like, I don't know, making a friend. But the day before we were supposed to do that, she said she had too much on her plate and she was sorry, but like it wasn't right. I totally understand. I'd be a hypocrite not to understand, it's supposed to be about supporting them. It's supposed to be about mental health. It's supposed to be about honesty, being genuine. So, I appreciate uh her enthusiasm when she thought she could do it. I appreciate her honesty about why she couldn't do it, and even saying anything at all and not bailing on me with no with no warning. I'm intentionally not saying who because I don't want anyone to be weird to these people or like think I'm mad at these people, because one is literally one of the best friends I made out there when I lived there, and the other is I think the world of both of them, even after this, and we have the rest of our lives if this podcast goes on for the rest of my life to do it. And if they listen, then I hope they both know open invite at all times. Um, but yes, that's why I put it off even longer after I thought I was ready. Um, it just didn't seem to be in spirit of what I was trying to do to come on this and do it alone. Um, because like in the long run, and forgive me if I already said this or something too similar to this, but in the long run, I'm not trying to get myself over, to put it in wrestling terms. I'm not trying to push myself, to put it in wrestling terms. Um, I'm just simply trying to be a moderator vessel of sorts. Um, to support people I believe in, to put them out there, and just to put out good vibes to a community. Theirs, mine, everyone's, the gaming community, nerds communities, of just mental health awareness. Obviously I don't play therapists, but we say checking in for a reason, because we do talk about these kind of things. And yeah, without the other person, just it felt like all of these ideals were gonna be lost. It was actually Pasla who, if you've been listening, you know already, and if you haven't, he was my first guest. We've been friends since, I don't know, Pokemon Yellow came out. I always instead of like just putting an age out there or like a year out there, I just, even like when me and him are just talking, or like the friend group's talking, like I always say like that, like since Pokemon Yellow, like instead of just like that's a marker, that's a set point in time. I'm gonna take a sip of my drink. But yeah, he was the one who encouraged me to just keep pushing along, to keep going. Um, and have people on as they're available, because life happens, and part of being there for people is understanding that. So I mean, again, no, I don't think poorly of anyone who was going to then didn't, or just didn't want to, or whatever, but it did kind of bring me down for a while to have no one like ready and available to come on, because it was fun for me and is going to continue being fun for me to have this revolving door of people. Like, yes, like it'd be great for my name to get out there and to gain a following, this podcast to take off and gain a following, and like to be someone, because man, I really want to be someone in like the realm of like nerd culture, but not like a celebrity or a star. Like I want to like put my stamp as like someone who really pushed forward for like like mental health awareness reasons, and that's why I did this in the brand, and we'll talk about the brand later again. But to be completely honest, like part of like the fun, like, you know what I mean, like yeah, like that stuff's serious, that stuff's touching, that's like good stuff. But like the fun was gonna be like, how many people am I about to collab with? You know what I'm saying? Like, and maybe that's like the musician in me. Like, this is like, yeah, like how many people like can I like mix creative juices with? um. So yeah, I'm gonna put this out here as a solo, and I'll keep doing it every time I can't get somebody on. But I will keep looking for people to have on in the meantime. And if you are somebody or know somebody, then reach out. Give me 1 second. I am very sorry about what just happened. I had to stop for a minute. You would think that like that pause that I took, you guys waited like a whole second and a half. And for the people watching, it's gonna be a very awkward jump cut because I do very minimal editing here. We raw. I like this to be as genuine and raw as possible. And like, yeah, typically maybe that'd be something that could and should be edited, despite me liking the rawness. But I got nothing to put there. I got no ad reads. I got no nothing. I guess I could put like a funny little "be right back" screen for like a second and a half, like whistle like, and then all of a sudden I'm back. But yeah, if you're watching or listening now, that whatever happened there already happened. So I don't. This is a weird ramble for you. Maybe that's why I need to segue. Because we kind of talked about like why I pushed back on doing this alone for so long. But again, real quick, I was saying before I took a second. Yeah, if you are someone or know someone, reach out. But here I am doing it alone, so I think I have an idea of how I want these like solo podcasts to go. Ideally, there won't be many of them because, again, just not my vision. It's just not what I set out to do. And again, I'm excited to work with people. I'm just excited to get to know people better. To help people. Um, but I myself am a nerd, a gamer, and all that. So I think what I'm gonna try to do in these solo podcasts, if anyone even is still here at this point, this has been a rough listen, probably. Yeah, this probably should have been the one I sat down and had a plan for. But to be honest, I didn't really plan on doing it. I just kind of sat up and said, you know what, tonight's the night. But yeah, I think I will recap something that I've done recently, whether it's like a game I've played, show I've watched, book I've read, and maybe try to build that bridge towards it to my own personality and mental health and all that. Because I think I got, I know it maybe sounds weird in theory, but I think like in practice it'll make a lot more sense. So I think I've got a good example right off the rip. I recently watched all of, including the three movies, the series Psych, um, starring Dulé Hill and James Roday, who I guess is now James Roday Rodriguez, which is funny because they make like a joke like, "Oh, Rodriguez was always there," you know, like in like the last movie. Yeah, I don't think that requires spoiler alert. But when that show was like new and on the air, I was so about it. Like it consumed me like at the time. Uh I guess like real quick for anyone who's like unfamiliar with like the series, James Roday always has been Rodriguez. Plays someone named Sean Spencer who was trained by his father who was a cop his whole life from a young age to be a cop someday. So he's like really gifted and observant and without going too much into the plot, long-term plot, for reasons he just never becomes one, but like he starts solving crimes and he plays psychic, and instead of just like telling everyone the clues he found, he like puts his finger to his head and goes, "Oh, I'm seeing something," and like leads the police to where they need to be. And like some of like the crimes and the murders and all that are like pretty real and pretty like pretty you know what I mean? Like pretty intense. But the show's still fun and funny because him and Gus, played by Dua Hill, are like so like bromance and like sarcastic and like caught in their jokes long term, like the references they make. And I loved it, and when it was on, like it probably molded like I don't think I'm as funny or as charismatic as like Sean, James Roday, but like I feel like I sort of got my like sense of humor and like my sarcasm and like my ability to just joke through anything. And after every season, I bought like the DVD set of every season. I had like T-shirts. I think I had a pillow, like a pineapple pillow. I'm sure someone who was like friends with me back then can confirm. I don't know where it would be now if it still exists. It was like a pineapple pillow that's a psych on it because like there was like a hidden pineapple, or he would just hand someone a pineapple. It was an Easter egg kind of thing. And I loved it so much that I would like share it with everybody, like friends, family, bosses, um, everyone. I shared it with everyone. I just loved it so much. I thought it was so cool. I was like, "You'll get me so much," you know. This is me. I'm Sean Spencer. Like, no, I'm not. Like, I'm not. I'm not that funnier, wittier, but I think it definitely shaped how funny and witty I am. And to maybe like tie this back to like the slight tones of mental health that go on here. I never finished the show. Like I never finished it as much as I loved it. Um and the reason is and I don't think I ever vocalized this to people. Um cuz I guess like you don't really need to in a sense in just casual conversation, like just I don't know, I never finished. I don't know why. Just kind of like seems like the only info maybe you need there. But like for terms of what we're doing today, I'm gonna spill. I'm gonna spill my guts a little. The problem with showing everybody and anyone who would listen that show and how much I loved it was not all of those people stuck around. uh Not all of those people were in it for the long haul with me, I guess, is a weird way to put it now that I already used it. Um Life goes on, people move on, friendships change, relationships change, whatever. That's fine. Um Now I get that. But in the moments, at the times, the show just kept getting more and more connected to people who I unfortunately didn't want to associate with anymore. Or like people I had bad memories of. That was the downside. And I think after a certain point, it just like when I moved from here to go to live in the desert in California, like just too many connections to too many bad memories that I just needed to cleanse my palate of. And like I know like it's just a TV show and it's not that deep. Like I said, like I just showed everyone how much I loved it, and like eventually like I just was reminded of like, oh, I used to watch this with that person or this girlfriend or this, and I just need to cleanse my palate, I guess. Like just like when I had to just get away from here for a little bit. So yeah, I never finished it. And it's funny because I thought like I stopped with a ton to go, but now that like I actually got over the hump and I finished it all, I was almost done. There was like a season and a half I didn't see. And obviously they made movies after, and I didn't see the movies either. But in terms of like the TV show, like I was almost done. I should have just finished it out. Like but I grew. Um, I grew. Like I don't harbor those feelings anymore of like I can't enjoy this anymore because I used to enjoy it with this person and now I don't enjoy this person. Um, and it's funny because like yeah, maybe I don't watching it now. I wasn't like as enthralled as I was when I was younger. Maybe parts of it didn't age so well, and that's why. Maybe as someone more comfortable in my own skin, I didn't feel the need to be the dude in the show anymore. Maybe that's why I wasn't as enthralled. Um, but it was good. I liked it. It was so fun. Like, and like I said, I was almost there. I was almost there. And to like get very deep about something that maybe isn't so deep. Like, how many other things in my life was I like almost there and just let other people ruin for me? Excuse me. Need a drink. Um, yeah. Um, but don't get me wrong. I definitely still watch it and see like, oh yeah, I've used that remark before. I've made comments like that where it definitely molded my sense of humor and my sarcasm. And that never went away despite my like detachment from the show. Um, yeah, that's my connection to like something I've done lately to just mental health awareness and just my own honest vibes, I guess. I don't really the thing about like talking about mental health in like a casual format and not like pretending to be a therapist or like a professional or like an expert is sometimes I never actually know the way to put the vibe I'm going for into words. And I just kind of hope you understand. So I hope you all understand that the connection I was trying to make there. And if you're listening and there's something out there that you think people may have accidentally, I want to confirm accidentally, because I don't think anyone intentionally ruined it for you, but something was ruined for you just because it was attached to too many people you didn't want to be attached to anymore. Um, I hope you decide to let that go and give that thing you used to love another try, and I hope it fulfills you again. Um, Life's short. Um, enjoy the things you enjoy, and don't let anyone make you feel bad for enjoying them, and don't overthink it and not let yourself enjoy it. And even like talking about it and watching it, like, yeah, I still thought of those people, and yeah, like, I gotta, it didn't feel good to remember those people or those times, but I hope those people are okay, and I hope those people enjoy themselves, and I hope they watch it and they think of me and go, "Oh yeah, we used to love that. I should give this another shot." And like, maybe now we start to think fondly of each other again. Now that we've let those weird feelings go and uh didn't think of each other as like the reasons we stopped enjoying something. I feel like maybe, and I didn't really plan on taking it this way, but as I'm saying it, I'm getting there. um, maybe if I just never felt that way, which, I'm not saying your feelings are invalid or don't feel the way you feel, but like maybe getting over that hump, maybe healed some of those bad feelings and those bad memories and those bad connections. Um, and while I allowed myself to think those were the reasons I wasn't enjoying the things I enjoyed anymore, it became like this self fulfilling prophecy of sorts where, like, yeah, like I stopped watching this because it reminded me of this person I don't like, which in turn made me not like the person because it ruined something I liked. Yeah, and I'm not saying you just wake up one day free of every grudge you have. Um, I like to live grudge free now that I'm older and more mature. But that doesn't mean any ill feeling you have is invalid. But I just encourage anyone, I guess, to, if there's something that like you stopped because you weren't happy with we becoming I, or just it's connected to someone that you just don't want to be connected to, just maybe try to not forgive that person if you're not ready, but just try to bring yourself to a place where you can look past it and just enjoy something you enjoy again. Um, yep, that was my deep take on a very goofy and silly TV show. And if it made no sense, then goodbye, everyone. This is the final episode of the Big Brother Mono podcast. Not actually. I think it'll make a little more sense as I go on with like game stuff, because like this is what happened. This is how it relates to how I feel as a person and my character. But like that was an honest to god realization I had when I finally decided to watch it again. Like, wow, I was almost there. Wow, I like this so much. Wow, like, do I even dislike this person? So before I ramble about the same two, three things over and over and over again, give something another try. Try to look past the bad connection and maybe begin to heal from it. And if you can't, then that's cool too. You'll be ready when you're ready, if you're ever ready. But I'm no expert. This is why I need another person. So I can be like, does that make sense? And have someone go, no, Johnny. No, it doesn't. Um, so just like on like a more nerdy level, Astrobot comes out next week. So maybe this was a bad time to do this because Astrobot's gonna consume my life soon. I'm hoping there's a soundtrack I can buy. For anyone who doesn't like know me personally, I collect soundtracks. I try to stick to vinyls but I do have like some cassettes and CDs and stuff. If it's something like kind of rare and worth grabbing. Um, Once upon a time, I made an Instagram and a TikTok for that. I think I'm gonna start using it. I think the reason I never started using them, even though I made them, was because like I felt like there was a certain quality those posts needed to be. And I just wasn't happy with like the quick little like, oh, this is the new vinyl I got, and I was just like, da 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 for 30 seconds. But man, it's become such a fun hobby, such a fun collection for me. Me and my dad were just in New Hampshire for a weekend for like a wedding, like a family friend wedding. We found like a game store and we went in and they had like a cassette tape for Castlevania, and I don't even really play Castlevania, and like part of the fun of this is I like getting games, even stuff I don't play, because I think it's a cool talking point. Like, oh, you like this? I have this. Check this out, and pull it out, play it, whatever. Um, so that's how like stuff that aren't vinyls find their way to my collections. Like I find them in the wild, and I go, oh, that would look cool with everything else. And like, yeah, I think I'm gonna start using that TikTok and that Instagram. So I will post those links when when the time comes. You're gonna have to stay tuned. Um, because yeah, it's such a cool talking point. Like I think that's why I think it's a cool collection to have. And because again, even if I don't play the game, it's fun to be like, oh yeah, I have this. Let's throw this on. Or like people talk video games. Like I talk video games with the people I have on here, and like that's always my cut to like, oh, such a good soundtrack. It just um this is connected because I brought it up, but not really connected to soundtracks. My mind's everywhere. I'm sorry. Like I said, no bullet points. Maybe this is the one that should have, but I think I needed that weekend in New Hampshire. I think I needed that time with like my family. I think I need to be away from work for a weekend. I'm so happy for the two people who got married. I'm so happy for everyone who was there. It was just such an honest to God great letting go of everything going on. Just straight up good time and vibes. So maybe if I was gonna give like a credit pie, or if you're not happy I'm doing this, a blame pie for how I came back to this. I'd say piece of pie goes to Pasla for encouraging me to do it without the guests. Piece of pie goes to a weekend of just straight relaxation and vibes. A piece of pie goes to, and this is a weird one. If you know me, you know I'm a hockey fan, but it's still gonna be a hard turn. Patrick Laine. Um, Recently, him and his partner started like I think it's called From Us to You, and it's like a mental health awareness and all this stuff. And I like repost all their stuff, and they like it. It just like hit me again, like man, this is the kind of stuff I want to be out there doing. I want to be promoting mental health awareness. I want to be connecting people. I want to make a difference. So they get a piece of pie. They'll never know I exist probably, but they get a piece of pie for me someday. There are other pieces of pie, but I think those are the three main ones right now. I think I'm done ranting about what I want to do here, and what I'm gonna do here when I can't do that stuff. Um, I think I'm done ranting about my hobby that was unrelated to anything other than I just really wanted to talk about it. and next time, if there isn't someone here with me, I'll just do another weird kind of like thought piece of like this is something I enjoyed lately, and this is how I connected to my own mental health. Um, and just trust that it made sense to me, even if it made no sense to you, I guess. Which means the only thing I really have left to rant about, and this has been a rant, and if you're still here, kudos. I think the quality will improve. I just think something in me snapped. Like, literally, I was upstairs, and I just was like, no, today's the day I go down, I spill my heart about what I've been doing instead of this, why I want to do this, what I'll be doing this. What I'll be doing this, that's a sentence. And that's how we got here. So it came out very ranty and all over the place. And I am a person I'm ranty and all over the place, so I can't say that I'll ever officially be out of this. But it will be part of this, and it'll be a little bit more controlled chaos from here on out, I promise. The last thing to rant about would be EXP Up Apparel. I can't even put a timestamp on it. EXP Apparel is a brand I started before the podcast I started, where I would try to work with gamers and streamers and content creators, with this clothing brand to promote like clean self-expression, positive mental health awareness. I probably should have brought examples down with me, but again, this was so unplanned. And trying to get this off the ground, I would go to like Comic Cons, PAX, stuff like that, and just hand stuff out. Be like, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is who I am. This is why I'm doing this. I like the goal long term is to raise money for mental health nonprofits. I don't sell anything yet because like I don't have the following to present myself to these organizations to officially work them yet. At least I feel like that was important, and I still do. Like to have the following to show them I did the work. And you know, I reached out to a lot of streamers and creators, and some took some stuff, some didn't, some I couldn't get through to. You know, whatever. People get bothered all the time. They probably thought it was spam. It kind of is spam. And it just, I don't like saying this. It wasn't paying off. And I just like ran out of the funds to do stuff for free. Man, it really doesn't feel good saying that. It doesn't feel very punk rock. But, you know, like I say about my actual music, punk rock doesn't always pay the bills. So it just needed to go on pause for a while. The podcast had to go on pause for a while, and it just feels so lame to say, like, to be like, oh, I'm ready again, like, but I'm ready again. Podcast is back. EXP Up Apparel is back. I'm ready again. Cause as lame and as hurt as I was and it is to just not have it in me to do these things, I think it also felt lame and it hurt to not be doing these things. Man, is life complicated, because like those two things don't really make sense at the same time, but they were happening at the same time. I'm gonna stop. I'm done now. Um, this was awkward, but I'm happy with it. Other times I've recorded things and I was like, this was really awkward. I don't like this, but this was really awkward and I did like this. This was honest and genuine, which is what I asked of other people when I do this. So it was only fair to be honest and genuine by myself. So the 3 points before I leave. If you or anyone you know would like to be on the Big Brother Mono podcast, please reach out to me immediately. Number 2, go back to something you used to love. See if you still love it. Try to get past any block, whether it's personal or not. And the third, and maybe the most important, Big Brother Mono podcast is back. EXP Up Apparel is back. Usually I end every episode by asking the person if they feel like they put out what they needed to into the world, or if there's more they need to talk about. and I think I put what I needed to out into the world, and I definitely need to stop talking. Um, so this has been the Big Brother Mana podcast. I'm Big Brother Mana, or What That Meowth Do, on other corners of the internet. And I'm gonna keep being that person, but I'm done being that person here. And if you've been listening all around, you understand that's as close to the usual ending line as I can get with only one person. If you made it this far, I'm surprised, and I think I owe you a beer to rip off my favorite podcast that I listen to.